this podcast.
Okay.
You're not recording yet, are you?
Yeah, we are.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the HOTI podcast with me, Alex. We have with me today
Simon.
Lauren.
What episode is this? Hello.
17.
No, 17. Wow. No, welcome to the HOTI podcast and episode 17. Last week's HOTI podcast I finished listening to just before we started this one.
Mm-hmm.
And Lauren, it got me onto a topic I want to discuss with you later.
Okay.
That I think could be quite interesting because you're in something that I'm into, and I did not know you were into it. So
well, I've not seen last week's podcast, and I'm now questioning. There's lots of things running through my
then
mind.
how are you going to vote on Hottie of the Week?
I'll guess.
I mean, I can tell you now, Lawrence was the best.
There we go. Then I'll vote for Lauren.
It was the best. There we go. I will vote for Lauren as well. That's what's that.
So this is the reverse podcast.
Quick and efficient.
Should we do HOTI of the Week first?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Should we do HOTI of the Week
first? That will be even
first?
more memorable for me next week.
Yeah.
When I totally remember it.
Okay, so what were the HOTIs of the week last week?
Last week we had Lauren's hamster atrocity.
Would you like to just know about it since I have a feeling you're not going to watch the episode?
Please.
Okay. So, there's been a trend going around on the internet about how supposedly hamsters just always die in the most horrific ways. And this girl told a story.
Confirmed.
Yeah. Yeah, this girl told a story about how her hamster Butters was so mean and awful that she asked her mom if they could take it back to the pet store because it kept getting out of the cage and chewing through important stuff. So they took it back to the pet store, got a new hamster. The next day, they hear on the news that pet store burned down because a small rodent got out of its cage and chewed through wires and set an electrical fire.
Okay. I don't think it was a hamster.
Burned down the pet store.
I think it was a demon.
Demon. Yeah, they try the whole "the power of Christ compels you" thing. Then we also had Liam was the bear one, wasn't he?
Yes, the girl who body slammed a bear.
Yeah, I watched that video. Really? What? Liam was the 17-year-old girl. She tackled the bear off a balcony.
All I heard was Liam was the 17-year-old girl. That was it.
No. And then Brianna's. I'm trying to recall what Brianna's was. I think I got so lost in the hamster
hers
story.
was a TikTok chain of people.
That's right. That was horrific. With his holding the girlfriend hostage of the people outside.
Someone uploaded a really weird video of this guy talking about his girlfriend, and she looked terrified to be there. It looked like he was holding her hostage. So people you can duet videos on TikTok where you can just keep adding on to the video. So people were slowly backing out of the scene, showing him holding a gun to her. And then police officers outside saying you don't want to do this, to news cameras, to the Avengers coming in.
It was really good, actually. If you hadn't brought in a deadly hamster, I think I would have voted for that one, to be fair. But they were all sort of animal related, apart from the first one, obviously. I liked the sort of it was very chaotic, all of the HOTIs from last week.
It was a very good round. It really was.
Interesting. So what's this week's? Who wants to go first as we start the podcast with this? Because this is the Backwards podcast. You're all welcome.
I can go first. All right, you go first.
All right, I'll go first. Yeah, because mine is it's not a very long video. It's about a woman in Oregon, Kate Famel, that she put a sign up because something had been happening around her neighborhood, and she felt like she needed to get to the bottom of it. So this is it.
Animal lovers know that cats can steal your heart, and if you're not careful, they'll take other things too. This is Esme. Owner Kate Felmut noticed in the past month, Esme has really ramped up the number of masks, cloths and gloves she's taking from a nearby park and some neighbors' garages. So many, in fact, that Kate had to make a sign letting the Beaverton neighborhood know her cat is a thief and people should come by and take back what her cat stole.
I love the picture.
She went for about a week of not bringing me anything. I had the impression she was a little mad about it. The sign has, people come by and take things every now and then. Mostly they take pictures. But I've definitely we had the school bus drive by and stop and get out and take a few pairs of gloves. I've been thinking about making another sign that just said, take a pair of gloves if you want. Oh, and when she brings them, she comes to the back door and she yowls like, meow, until I come in and tell her she's doing a job.
But of course, everyone on social media has to chime in, and Kate says she's seen articles now, even from around the world, saying that she's shaming Esme with this sign. But Kate says she doesn't think the cat's ashamed at all. In fact, she thinks Esme's quite proud of everything she stole and collected. I agree with that. I don't think cats have any shame.
I mean...
Oh, man.
The thing for me is you always know someone's a little bit kooky when they imitate the noise their cats or their pets make.
I've definitely done that.
I'm really glad I didn't pick a different video for my HOTI of the week this week, because I almost picked one similar.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I found a video of a lady videotaping her neighbor's house getting raided for a meth lab.
Oh.
So there's all these
shit!
Waiting
like,
to see where the connection
stuff.
is.
All right.
Well, give it 1 second. So there are the police out there, they're collecting evidence and stuff, and this cat comes up and starts bugging all of the police officers, like darting into the crime scene, messing up the evidence, trying to take the plastic bags of evidence off of the porch.
Oh no, it's a high cat. We've got a drug addicted cat.
No, that was definitely the cat owned that drug den. 100%.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, no.
Trying to save some of the stash.
Yeah, 100%.
Eyes and cat.
Yep. Oh.
Jeez.
You can go next for that one.
Okay. Well, mine is, we're in the middle of June, which is Pride Month, which is egregious corporations stealing the Pride logo for their own greed month.
Woo!
And so mine is based around Pride. In America somewhere, I'm not exactly sure where, some people on a boat had a Pride flag on the very back, obviously celebrating, celebrating, you know, their love of all things gay and queer and bi and whatever. And they started to
What's this?
This is the
Gay
universal.
Oh, is it? Is this it? Ah,
Yeah,
right, okay. Just so I know for the future when I need to announce myself to people.
This is how we come out now. You walk into a room like that. Yeah. That's it. You know.
If you're bisexual, you have to do this. Both hands going.
Yes. Yes. We can say, you know, if you're, I don't know, say like pansexual, you can be like something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
If you're asexual, you're just
you're still.
I love you for who you are, but not for what you represent.
Yes, not for your genitals.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't going to say that. I wasn't going to say that on the child-friendly podcast that we do.
Oh yes,
this
the very
has never been
child-friendly.
child-friendly.
No.
Wait, I've been recommending this to kids. I don't know. Are we not meant to do that?
I mean, you can do, but as long as you inform the parents first. So, yes, this boat has a pride flag on the back, and they start to get harassed. Karma is a bitch, is all I'll say. So
I think I've seen an article about this, but I didn't read it.
So good.
I'll show you now.
So good.
Karma hits boaters who harassed and spun circles around our boat after they saw our pride flags.
The boat is on fire.
They need help.
They are swimming to their boat.
Oh yes!
Please help us.
That's what we call karma, motherfucker.
It's such a huge fire
It
too.
is.
It's so good.
that is the aftermath of the boat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Karma came back real fucking quick.
It did. You know, if you piss off the gays, then they will set your boat on fire with the power of the mind.
No. We don't tell them the secrets.
Yes. All LGBTQI people are secret telepaths.
No. I am signaling.
That's what gaydar is. Gaydar is the secret.
Fucking useless in my opinion, but continue. Never
Why?
helped me once.
You've never had an accurate gaydar?
No, not really. I don't think so. Mine's kind of like ding, 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 ding. Every person I see, ding, 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 maybe.
Oh.
I live in that ideal kind of world.
It must be right some other time then. You know.
Yeah, but being right some of the time is just basically being wrong most of the time. I'm just being honest. Okay, so that leaves us with Lauren's Hottie of the Week.
Yeah, so mine's just a cute little story about a man who works at Disneyland, and they honored him earlier this week. And yeah, the video will say the rest.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Alex. I work at the Pinocchio Village House in Magic Kingdom. I was in the United States Navy for 21 years. I was a naval aviator and I had a call sign. But now that I'm here at Magic Kingdom, I have a call sign, Geppetto. Just recently, the Magic Kingdom honored me with an early morning flag raising. I was humbled by them and I was also greatly honored by it. I'm just glad to be here. Hi, my name is Alex.
He's just the cutest little old man.
That was adorable.
Yeah. They made him dress up like... What was his name? Geppetto?
What was his name?
It's been a while since I've seen...
Anything?
Yeah.
That is animated?
Like, I haven't seen this since I was a kid.
Disney marathon someday.
I watched all these things when I was a
the other
kid.
day.
Yes, we watched it. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
We can talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That was very wholesome. I like it when, you know, you get like the stories of old people who, you know, are kept going because they've found a job that they really enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's what keeps people going as well when they're that age. I think when they just stop, it kind of, you know, really sets in and affects them. So it's nice to see them up and about doing stuff, even in a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
and Disney wholesome. Is for everybody.
Yeah.
Although Disney was closed for a while, wasn't it, during the pandemic?
Yeah, it was for a little while.
Yeah.
But so was everywhere else.
True.
Life kind of stopped for a while.
Just a little bit. Just a little
bit. But you know what? Mentally, I think it didn't affect any of us.
Yeah, very good. We're all not total depressed psychos right now.
No, but speaking of that, that is one topic I want to come up to later. But before that, we should vote for Hottie of the Week.
The depressed part or the psycho part?
Both.
Okay,
both.
Cool.
I'm gonna vote. I gotta vote for Geppetto. You cute old man. You got me.
I'm gonna vote for Karma.
I'm gonna vote for the cat because I'm a cat person. So we've got a three-way tie.
Three-way tie.
Yeah.
Tied it again.
Oh,
okay.
darn.
Well, we will find out next week on another thrilling chapter of Hottie of the Week, probably at the end of the episode, as usual. Because I keep forgetting we're at the beginning of this episode.
We are.
No.
What a way to throw us all off.
I know. Yeah. So... Wow. Did you just see all the gears in my head stop for a minute and go...
Yeah.
Okay. No, what I wanted to talk about, Lauren, because last week you were discussing serial killers.
Yes.
And Ted Bundy. And I've been listening to the Red Handed podcast. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's two British girls who do it. And they basically detail all kind of... Really, Simon? Really? You need to grow up. You need to grow.
Sorry.
Just grow up a little bit.
Sorry.
No,
The oldest one here. Jeez, man.
Wow.
Only
What has age got to do with this?
Apparently nothing.
Don't be ageist, Lauren.
But before you two start, I don't know why I'm sleeping my desk now. I'm nervous. No.
Anyway, Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, yeah. No, and we were covering. I was listening to a case the other day, and I was thinking, like, I don't know about you, but I find it kind of morbidly interesting how these people do this stuff and get away with it, and sort of. For me, it's more sort of like. Not how they've done it or what they did. It's more sort of like how they went about, how they don't care about what they do. It drives me insane. I'm like,
what drives them? How they
exactly
do such things? Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't. I mean, I was listening to one the other day where, and it was probably perhaps the most incompetent murder I've ever heard of. But it really was. It was kind of just sad, really. There was this author. I'm not going to bring up names and stuff because people can look it up. But there was this author in England, and she
J.K. Rowling.
She'd had no, not J.K. Rowling. This one's dead. There's this author in England, and she basically had a husband who she was with for like 40 odd years, and then he passed away. He drowned on their holiday. And so she went back to England, convinced she'd never love again. And anyway, this man, I remember his name, Nigel. I just remember his name. Nigel, he kind of swept her off her feet, and he was very much kind of harassing to the point of almost harassment. Like, oh, will you go out with me? Will you date me? And she eventually just thought, maybe I'll just date him once and he'll go away. Like I said, she was an author, very successful author. I forget her name now, but you might have read some of her books. And she basically lived in the countryside in this mansion with him for like 5 years. They got engaged, they got married. And one day Nigel rang up the family and said, basically, she's gone away for a while down to the southwest of England, southeast of England. Just for some time on her own. She's still struggling back with Derek's death or whatever. And so the family thought that was a bit weird, but they continued on anyway. And she'd taken the dog with her. That's what makes this case really, I didn't like it. So anyway, turns out, obviously, she hadn't gone away. The family were looking for her. The police were looking for her. Nigel went from not being able to tell the police what he was doing that evening to being then able to detail every little thing up until the point she went missing in great detail. Like the guy was saying, and then I made a cheese sandwich. And I ate that cheese sandwich by the waterside. And I thought, that was a nice cheese sandwich. I'm not joking. This is how in-depth this guy goes. He's like proper, like, he's a complete knob, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, the police come back to search the house again, and he goes, oh, did you open the garage door? I don't remember you opening the garage door, or was that not to do with you? And they don't think anything of it. They continue on, and then, like, they can't pin him down for it. They can't get him. And they're like, what are we missing? Can't find her, can't find a body if she's dead. Where is she? And so it turns out one of the police goes back and watches the found camera footage of when they raided his house, and they noticed what he said about the garage. So they go back there, and there's an old cesspit under the garage. And of course, they go down and they find her. They find the dog too. Yeah, I know, bastard. And all this knobhead says as he's being taken away by police, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. How did you know? I can't, but I'm thinking, this ain't fucking Scooby-Doo, mate. Like, Jesus. I am fascinated by that kind of stuff. And I have to sort of watch it and then, well, not watch it, but listen to it and then have a break before I listen to another one, because OCD and shit, and I don't want to be worrying about.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the most healthy thing for you to be?
Not.
Probably
not.
To. As someone who is also mentally ill and loves watching horrible things, no, it's not good.
No, it's not. No. So I'm trying to limit myself to like one case a month, just so I don't, I don't want to get obsessed about it. You know what I mean? Like, and then because I don't want that in my fucking
Just for the record,
head.
I have no interest in visiting the southeast of England. If I go there with Zuko,
Wow.
check the garage.
Wow. First of all, how incompetent do you think I am? Second of all, just because I might have mental health issues doesn't mean I'm going to turn into a murderer, Simon. How dare you? But I just find it how they can do these things and get away with it and just like have the gall. I mean, I once ran over a squirrel by accident and I felt really bad for like 2 weeks. Like every time, and you know, these people go around killing people and dogs, which is honestly worse. I don't get it. I don't get how people can be like that.
It's the sociopathic nature. It's one of those things. It's very much, you know, something that psychologists and people study to try and solve. Is it nature? Is it to do with chemical imbalance? Is it just, you know, some people are evil?
I mean, he was obviously doing the Nigel case was obviously doing it for money because she was a millionaire, very, very rich.
So that's what it was. He never married her with the intent of killing her, but it came to a point where he was like, I want the money.
He was drugging her for a long while, like with Valium and stuff, but eventually accidentally overdosed her.
Oof.
Oh, so it was an accidental murder.
I think it was still going to be like until they got married properly, and then obviously he divorced her after so long, whatever, and get half of everything, I imagine.
Right.
But I think he just fucked up.
Yeah.
He still got like 30 years in prison, so he was drugging his wife for 4 years. So.
There's one case that really messed me up, and it's a really recent case. And they put a documentary up about it on Netflix, which is why I saw it. But it was the guy in like Arizona or something who murdered his pregnant wife and his 2 little girls.
Oh.
And threw them into a oil refinery tank at his job. At his
job?
Yeah, he was completely incompetent in how he tried to cover it up, but he also he tried to blame the wife first, saying that she was the one who killed their daughters, so he killed her in self-defense or whatever.
And then just happened to throw them all into an oil tanker.
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah. Smart, bro. Smart. That reminds me of Chris Benoit a little bit. You would know Chris Benoit, Simon, yeah.
Oh, yes, very much. I remember the exact moment I found out that he was dead. I found out before it went on the news because at the time I was wrestling. I was a wrestler. And so we had people who knew Chris and who were talking to us.
Yeah.
And like it was a couple of
first
hours.
It came out that he died, and so there was like this massive sort of tribute to him in a way. Like
they knew that he, his wife, and his kid were dead.
Yeah.
And so they did. It was a couple of hours before the show was due to air.
Yeah.
And so they said to the fans, "Go home. We're gonna run an empty stadium with a tribute show." And there'd been one similarly a couple of years earlier for his best friend Eddie Guerrero, who died of heart failure.
That's what spiraled all of that.
It's a really sad and complex case that's led to a lot of criticism of the wrestling industry because it's partially because of his brain damage from taking bumps so many years, and also the psychological trauma of losing his best friend.
I think he had some kind of dependency.
Oh, he was a steroid user.
No. Sorry. He was one of these people who attached themselves to one person. And when obviously his best friend died, like I remember when I was listening to the podcast, they were saying he was grieving for him like he'd just lost his lifetime partner, like he'd lost a spouse almost. And I think that eventually led to his mental decline.
Yeah. That topped off with the brain damage and the steroid abuse.
Yeah.
He got very paranoid towards the end of the last few months. And and yeah, he killed his family, hung himself, and
on an elliptical machine, if I recall.
Yeah, in his weight machine.
Yeah.
Killed the mum on the Friday. Watched the pay-per-view with the kid that he was supposed to be on and win a championship on, and then killed the kid and then killed himself.
Yeah.
It's
crazed. People are crazy.
Yeah. So this has been a really uplifting and enjoyable, podcast so far. I'm really glad we got Hottie of the Week out of the way first, because
me too.
Yeah, probably shouldn't go any further into the murder I was talking about if we want to keep keep it from going too dark.
We can segue on. Let's talk about soul and what do you think the meaning of afterlife is?
So what are you guys' thoughts on the movie?
Simon cried.
No, it didn't. You did.
No, I did cry. Yeah, I cry like a friggin' baby. I cry at everything. You can put a sad commercial on and I'll start crying. No, I really enjoyed it. There was one thing that was just kind of left out for me a little bit, and I was a bit confused, and that was the representation of the great beyond as a fly swat, as like one of those electric mosquito things, because they just walked away and went. I was like,
yeah,
that seems a bit deadly. I don't know whether that was just sort of him panicking and seeing that, or
I think it was just more like him being like, "Oh no, I don't want that." But
but I loved the actual imagery of it, the bridge and the sort of stars bending around in that sort of light way until it became this giant, big, bright white light. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was. I loved the story. I loved how it was a story about not having to be famous and not having to be a star, not having to rise above everybody else, just living your life as you. I love that sort of that sort of undertone of it, of that sort of you don't have to be the best, you don't have to be the greatest, you can just be you, and that's enough for the people who love you. And I really liked that. I really liked that.
Finding your spark.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the fact that, very similar vein, that he'd spent his entire life trying to be the big, piano player in the jazz scene. And I coming into the film, I thought that's what it was mostly going to be about. I thought it was going to be about someone in the jazz scene going through, some kind of difficult time and, battling through it. I didn't actually realize it was going to focus on dying and the afterlife until we got into it. And, I thought it was really cool that, in the end, he was always a teacher. He was always someone who helped others to find their own way. And that's what he did with, was it number 4? 21? I forget the number.
22, I think.
22. And that's what he did. He was the teacher to 22, and when he accepted that, 22 found their way.
Yeah, it was a really emotional movie, and I really sort of I kind of just fell in love with, and it felt to me very compact. It felt very, the story was told, but there were no unnecessary beats, if you know what I mean. Like, it was just a very clear story. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
It really hit me hard when I first saw it. Yeah. Because just the final message of the film, that it's like, living is not about finding something that you're good at or, your place in the world. It's just about wanting to live. And as someone who has reached that point where I didn't want to live anymore, and just seeing that message, that just, it hit me hard. I cried for a long time watching that movie, but I enjoyed it. When I went into it, I was afraid I wasn't going to enjoy it because I didn't enjoy Inside Out.
Which one was Inside Out?
It's another Pixar film. Gosh dang it.
I'm trying to think if we've seen that one, or is it? Is that your favourite one, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have seen it.
I mean, it's not a bad film, but it was just my personal preference.
I didn't enjoy it as much the second time as I did the first time. I think it was one of those films, because I was much younger when I first watched it the first time, and I only ever watched it once, up until I watched it with Simon, who obviously it stuck with. I thought it was the second time around. I wasn't in the same place as I was when I was younger and I watched it the first time around, so it didn't have as much of an impact on me. But I can understand why I loved it so much as a teenager growing up, because it was all about those emotions and the feels. I love that the ending. Still my favorite thing about that film is that in the end, it's the feels that is the main component. It's happiness and sadness all mixed together, and I just fucking love that film. But I understand why it might not be your cup of tea.
Yeah, I think it's just because like the basic message of each movie with Inside Out, it basically comes down about how it's okay to be sad, to like embrace sadness and letting go and that sort of thing. Whereas Soul's message is more about embracing hope and moving forward.
Yeah, definitely.
That sort of thing. So just overall tone, I think, is just what makes me love Soul so much more.
Yeah.
And it just makes Inside Out hard to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's what's good about the movies is that it does leave, like you said it's like they say embrace sadness. I see it as sort of like the feel. So it's like it's up to your own interpretation of how you view that scene as well. So I like that in that all their movies seem to have that kind of the room for interpretation.
I think Inside Out was very much about the fact that you can't have happiness without sadness. You can't have light without dark. So it's about not trying to find a way to never be sad. It's about trying to find a way to deal with being sad and accepting that, there are going to be times in your life when you're sad, but you have to remember that you will be happy again. That these emotions are in constant flux, and whichever way you have to do it, you will be happy again as long as you realize that, as they say, it's always darkest before the dawn, So one of those. Yeah. I think everyone takes a different interpretation of it, but
100%, exactly. And that's what's, like I said, that's what's so great about them. So moving on from that, what else have we been watching this week?
Well, before we move on to the inevitable low-key talk,
okay, all right, okay.
I just wanted to make a quick mention, and I don't know if either of you will have had any interest. I don't even think, Lauren, you might have even heard this, but I watched Jeremy Clarkson's Farm show, which is just released on Amazon Prime this week. I don't know if you know who Jeremy Clarkson is, Lauren.
I know of Jeremy Clarkson. My dad was a huge fan of what's the show?
Top Gear, yeah. Yeah. So was I. I've not been so much a fan of the Grand Tour because it feels way too overproduced and too scripted. And I don't always agree with Jeremy Clarkson on everything. But watching it was a really interesting balance of, like, obviously he's there to be the comic relief. He's there to get things wrong and do things terribly, but it was actually kind of interesting to see how hard farmers have it, more so through the pandemic. And in the end, it's one of those things where he's like, I'm lucky because I've got Amazon backing me up with, funding. If my farm tanks because of bad weather or because of the pandemic, it's no big deal for me. But all of these farmers out there who, from the smallest things of like crops burning down, it showed you a farm across the way and their crops as they were harvesting them burned down. That was like an entire year's worth of work down the drain.
You also showed an image of Jeremy Clarkson running away with a pack of matches.
No, just plenty of stuff that, causes all kinds of chaos. He opens a farm shop simply to sell the 16 tons of potatoes that he'd farmed. It was one of those where if you enjoy Jeremy Clarkson's style of comedy, it's great, but it's also got like a really cool kind of message behind it that opens up like how hard it is for farmers to survive and how hard farming is, which I wasn't expecting from it. I just thought it was going to be a goof fest. So, worth a watch if that's your kind of thing.
Okay. I've been watching, I know we're going to get onto Loki in a second, but I'm currently on Hell's Kitchen season 14. I love it.
Which one's that? Who's in that one?
It's the one when Michelle's in it for the first time.
Trying to think what season I'm up to. I haven't watched it in a while.
14. I love it. I watch it every weekend in my dinner. I'm like, it has to be a weekend thing. I don't know why, but I absolutely adore it. It's just great. Just seeing Gordon Ramsay rip the absolute shit out of people is just perfect. Doesn't make me want to cook though. If anything, it puts me off that idea. But let's talk the mischievous little scamp in the room. So, spoilers ahead, folks. What were your guys' first impressions of this episode? Lauren, we'll start with you.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
What did you enjoy from it? What did you take away from it for this first episode? Mephisto? Confirmed? Yeah?
We're never going to let it go.
No.
But no, I am just so happy that Loki gets his own series in any situation. He's been like one of my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe characters since the beginning. Like the very first MCU film I saw was the first Avengers. And I was like, hey, this film's pretty nice. Maybe I'll give this Marvel thing a shot. So
wow.
Yeah, he kind of brought me into the MCU, so it's cool to see him getting his own series, and it's so wildly different from anything else that the MCU has done so far.
100%.
It's just so strange and off the wall. Yeah. It's a hard concept to wrap your head around.
It is. Sure. It is. No, definitely. I got oddly emotional at some points in there. I thought the score was fucking beautiful.
I love that.
But when he like sees the TVA for the first time, like out, like all the spirals and he's like, "Is this? I thought you said there was no magic here." He's like, "It's not magic," and I'm like, "Fucking science, man." And then a weirdly emotional scene, which really hit me. I mean, obviously the scene where he sees what happens to himself in the future really hit me. But the scene that really got me, I wasn't expecting, is when he found all the Infinity Stones in the drawer. And and you just watch him realize how insignificant his goals were. You just see it all collapse before him. His whole grand plan just fall apart because everything you want is right in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's useless.
I know that a lot of people were a bit mad about that because they saw it as a bit of an affront to what Natasha and what I suppose essentially Vision kind of all died for. It's like these things that were seen as like the most important elements in the universe, and they're being used as paperweights.
There is comic book law that dictates that the Infinity Stones only work in that universe. So if the TVA is set out of the universe, so I mean it hasn't been confirmed or denied, but if it is set out, that would explain why they're basically paperweights here. I don't know if that will ever be explained or not, but that was
they kind of briefly said like magic and stuff like doesn't work in the TVA. So
yeah, but I'd be intrigued to see sort of. I'm looking forward to learning the origins of the TVA and how comic book accurate it will be. And stuff.
I don't know anything of the background in the comics.
Yeah, I never read comics.
I did a little research after episode 1. I'm not gonna lie. I like to go in prepared. But I imagine it'll all change, much like WandaVision did.
Yeah. I can only see the TVA being the bad guys now.
Like, it's a hard pill to swallow, that concept that like there's only one timeline and they decide what that is. And
they actually use the word dictate.
And you think about all the horrible things that happen. One of my favorite things is all the fan reactions that have been coming out. I saw a video on TikTok earlier that said, so the TVA just saw slavery and was like, yep, supposed to happen. Like,
yeah.
It's like,
but even my kind of thought is they're being dictated to by these timekeepers who are in the comics as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if the MCU either has them be like the timekeepers are actually dead and that this timeline is just sort of like, kind of like Matrix it's running on its own by at this point, it's on its own system. Or it's going to be where the timekeepers get something out of it, or they're not really the timekeepers. They're someone else. I don't
Maybe
know.
one of them
but
killed the other two and dumped them in his garage in the cesspit.
It's
Nigel.
Mephisto.
Nigel.
Nigel was
the
Mephisto all
Nigel
along.
is
Yeah.
Mephisto.
Fuck you,
That would
Nigel.
be in keeping with the aesthetic of the TVA if the top guy was called Nigel.
I really
because
hope he is now.
It has that 60s totalitarian British feel to it. You know, I likened it to We Happy Few. I don't know if either of you have played that game or seen it.
I've seen bits of it, yeah.
It's got a very similar aesthetic of, you know, just very quirky 60s kinds of feels, and the very odd, you know, the robot that disintegrated Loki's outfit. It was like, ooh, that's
That
weird.
reminded me a little bit of Stan Lee and Ragnarok a little bit. And also Doctor Who with Captain Jack Harkness, where they laser off his clothes.
It's very like classic sci-fi kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely 60s. Especially with the animation reel that he had
Yes.
to watch.
Yeah.
How it was like a mix
Miss
of like
Minutes.
He-Man and the Jetsons and stuff like that. And
I couldn't work out who the voice was
Tara
all the
Strong.
way through, and then I saw it in the credits. I was like, "Oh, of course it is." I was like, "I know that voice, but I don't." They're doing an accent, and I don't know who. I couldn't
She's
quite work it out.
everywhere.
She is. She's everywhere. One thing that really stood out to me was, and it's only a little scene, but when Thor's talking in Ragnarok, and he said, "You know about you're not so bad, brother, and if you were here, I'd actually give you a hug." And he threw the thing. He went, "I am here," and you saw Loki smile. I was like, and also I want to say about Tom Hiddleston's acting when he's watching Thanos choke the life out of him, basically. And you can see in his eyes, he's searching. He's going, "How am I getting out of this? How do I get out of this one? How do I escape?" And then you just see his face, almost horrendous shock envelops him because he realizes
Even Loki
he has-
agreed that death was bullshit.
Yeah. But it was the reflective moment of when Loki is saying to Thanos, "You'll never be a god." It's as though he's saying it to himself as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was so sort of
it was surreal.
It was surreal. It must have been crazy for him to watch that. End of Reel must be the saddest thing you'll ever see on your own timeline.
Yeah.
Tom Hiddleston, man.
Oh, he killed it.
Trained Shakespearean actor, and he puts all of it into this comic book character. Like, he really cares, and it shows.
The Shakespearean actors are just some of the best. Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Tom Hiddleston. You know, anyone who gets their start in theatre, I think, always tends to go on to be a far better actor.
Lizzie Olsen, just putting it out there. Lizzie Olsen's also a theatre kid.
Yeah.
You know, and she's starting to really get recognition as well. And here's the thing I want to ask you guys, going off Loki slightly, but obviously we've had a lot of movie announcements for the MCU, and we haven't seen anything about Avengers yet. Obviously, the Avengers is going to take a while before it ever comes back, I think, because of what happened in Endgame and sort of the Avengers all seemingly going their own separate ways. But here's my question for you guys, slightly off topic, but obviously Fantastic Four's coming. Who is your perfect casting? Who would you guys want to see? Or is it something that, like me, you're a little nervous about? Because let's be honest, it's been fucked up twice.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. It's like Spider-Man, man. Like, you see it keep going, and you're just like, are they really going to be able to pull this off again? Better?
And
then
they
Tom
have
Holland
done.
came around.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what we need for this group. We need the second reboot of Fantastic Four. Holy
Haven't seen it.
Fan Four stick.
Fan Four shit. It was dog shit.
The originals get a bit of a bit of stick, and I was never a comic book fan, but I enjoyed
they
them.
were good. They were good for their time. But
weren't
they don't
terrible.
they don't hold up. Like Spider-Man originally was good for its time. And Spider-Man 2 still is, but it just doesn't hold up
Well, I think
to
Spider-Man
today's-
1's still pretty damn good, you know?
Yeah, it's not. Spider-Man's not my favorite character. I love Tom Holland, but he's just not my favorite character. Although I do like what the MCU have done with him more so than what the others did. Obviously, I am full-on trained John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. Undoubtedly, I love them both, and I think Sue and Reed Storm would be excellent as them too. But then it's like, do you want fresh blood? You know,
I'd like to see someone new given a chance.
Yeah,
that's what they did with Thor.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Lauren?
I was just thinking, well, they kind of did that with the reboot of Fantastic
That's
Four, and that
true,
didn't come out well at all.
Was that more for the story than the actors?
No, the acting was pretty dog crap.
I've never been a fan of Miles Teller as an actor, so
no, he's arrogant and yeah,
I've met too many people like him in high school that I've wanted to punch in the face. So.
No, I would. My pick is, but you know who was good in that film? Michael B. Jordan. He was actually quite good in that film. So I'd like to see him get a second chance. But
I love the meme that was going around at one point that said the MCU has like revamped, but 2 out of 2 Human Torches. Michael B. Jordan and Chris Evans.
Yeah, Killmonger. Yeah. Oh, of course he's Killmonger. I forget.
Yeah.
I forget he's Killmonger. It's
like a rite of passage for some people. You have to be
now
Johnny Flame.
They'll reboot Fantastic Four correctly on the 3rd time round.
Yeah.
As well.
If it's part of the MCU, I have faith because the MCU
Feige we trust.
Hasn't really failed. Yeah, MCU hasn't really failed in casting too much before. So.
No, I think the only one that people haven't been a massive fan of is Larson. But
yeah,
she has her fans too.
Is that more just about her general dislikability though? Because she's quite outspoken and not always in the best way.
No,
yeah, but women
I'm fine with her outspokenness. It was just the acting in the film. I was just like, like, she's a good actress. Like
Academy Award-winning actress.
Yeah, like Room was incredible acting performance on her part, but I just don't know if she was the right pick for this character.
Yeah, and you have to remember, Simon, if a strong man speaks out, he's a hero. If a strong woman speaks out, she's a bitch.
Oh no, it's not necessarily
in the media's view, and in a lot of toxic fanboys' views as well.
No, I think it wasn't necessarily that. It's more that the way she wears some things is not always the best, and it feeds the wrong kind of people because then they can be like, well, she said this basically, you know, and it's just like, you know, you've got to be. It's unfortunate in these days. You've got to be very careful about what you say, not so much to offend people, but not to give fuel to flame the fire of the toxic side culture. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm trying to think of people who I could say have been miscast in the MCU.
I'm struggling. I'd struggle to pick out.
Really?
I can tell you some people who I think have been underserved in the MCU.
Ooh,
could have had better roles, but
I can think of one. Iron Man 2. What's his name? Mickey Rourke.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't think he was good in that film at all.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, I don't have much. I'm trying to think seriously about a person I think has been miscast, and honestly, I think MCU is pretty good at it. I mean, like they obviously are pretty good at it. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. It's you know, with Marvel now. So to say they dragged Marvel out of the gutters is
understatement.
To put it nicely. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the state of Captain America, before, you know, the MCU became a thing, there was a couple of Captain America films, one made in like 1990 and one made in the 70s, and they are the hokiest, cheesiest pieces of crap. You know, it's like literally a guy with a plastic shield in a skin-tight costume that, you know, has plastic ears the plastic wings.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's just like spandex.
Have y'all heard of the TV film version of Doctor Strange that was like back in the 70s
No.
or whatever?
No.
It's the most horrifying thing to look at you've ever seen.
Really? I need to go look at this in a minute.
Yeah.
Like, it was hard to look up. I can't remember where I heard about it in the first place, but like it is a nightmare.
Yeah, comic book films before the late 80s, really not great. They were... The style changed in the late 80s. I think it was, obviously Tim Burton with Batman. Changed it to a little bit more of a realistic style, and Joel Schumacher came in and turned it back to the cheesiness. And, then that's like Spider-Man came in.
Yeah.
Kind of brought things back.
Oh no, definitely. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But,
Oh man, I'm sorry. I just watched this Doctor Strange. It is horrifying. Oh man,
yeah.
this is.
There is an Avengers from the 70s as well. And, it's got like Tony Stark, to get into his Iron Man suit, he has to lie on a sunbed. And like the sunbed closes down on top of him. And then he comes out in this big, bulky, cardboard Iron Man suit. I desperately want to try and find some footage of it because
I just watched that. That was
Bad.
yes. Oh, it was when the other character starts glowing red and shoots the laser out of the hand, and then he catches it. And he's like, I'm like, what even is this? He starts glowing too. Everyone fucking glows.
I've got a mashup of the Avengers 1978 best scenes here. Do you want to have a quick look?
Yes, let's do it.
Ooh,
All right, let's
sure.
have a look. Here we go. Oh yeah, it's a motorcycle helmet. Rather than it being
Oh
a...
no.
I want you to remember something when you get out of jail, pal. The old people around here are my friends. And if I ever hear they have problems again, I'm coming after you. You got that? Okay.
Want to cut?
Oh.
See the plastic shield?
Oh my
no.
gosh, that's so plastic.
No.
Oh, it's clear in parts.
Yeah.
They couldn't even paint it silver. It's a clear shield.
It's literally a piece of plastic.
So far, all I've seen is Captain America.
He's pouring
What's
shit
that
on them.
meant to do? Oh, for crying out loud!
Also, why is Captain America fighting the cops?
I don't know.
Wow! Wow! What a wheelie! What a wheelie! That was so badass.
Watch it!
Oh god.
It's Loki. Infinity
No.
War. What? Oh my gosh, it's a flying saucer!
Oh, here's the Hulk.
Oh no.
Lou Albano.
Oh, I'm ready for this.
That's Thor. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Look at all that fur.
Oh. Oh. Why has Thor just got a mallet?
Hey, don't disrespect Mjolnir.
It's not even real fucking armor. Look at it! Look at
He's
it!
a baby to him.
What the fuck?
Man, the height of 70s action film.
Oh yeah.
Giant computers glitching out.
Yeah.
Although I have to admit, this does remind me of Avengers.
You're a fighter.
Yeah, my first Avengers.
I'd be your friend.
Thor and Hulk scene's got nothing on this.
Say,
Look at that forehead.
wills it. Friends, you and I.
What?
What?
Why do you just...
I don't know.
Oh.
Oh,
I mean, that was quite clearly a
Michael Crowe.
stuntman in a rubber suit.
Yep.
Here it is, Tony Stark.
Oh my gosh, I can see
No,
it.
no,
The
no,
image of it.
no.
No. It's like the plastic Polly Pocket clothes that you stick together.
He's still wearing pants.
That is, I don't need that side of his crotch.
No.
That's too much.
What's with all the leather? Is this some kind of... Oh my lord!
You can barely get off the thing.
What is that?
It's a spacesuit from a really bad sci-fi film that you'd see on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
The dude can barely walk the cone. He's like holding his head up.
Why is it so tall?
Why does it look nothing like Iron Man's suit? I mean, there's not even attempts have been made.
No one even looked at the comic books.
What is it? We don't know. We'll find out.
What is it? It's a beeping red light, sir.
The urgency.
Wait, he's just still fucking walking down the drive, not giving a shit that he can't run. Look at him!
He is moving like an astronaut.
He is! I don't think he was in space.
He's just waddling down the road.
You know Iron Man can fly, right? Yeah, we don't have the CGI budget for that.
No.
When did this come out?
1978.
Same year as the Doctor Strange.
It's bulletproof plastic.
Oh?
Yeah, this seems like a smart move. It can take bullets, so let's drive a car at it. They obviously hit something in front of that.
Yes.
He's Iron Man, not like a zombie. What?
I love how he's just like a metal Hulk. That's what this version of Iron Man is.
Yeah. There's no gadgets.
It's a little waddle.
He has to stoop down. Oh no, the aluminium door.
Effective place to punch through a door.
What in the world?
I hate this.
And that's...
Well,
yeah.
thankfully it's over.
Ah, jeez.
Oh man.
Oh man, that was something else.
That was bad.
So I think we should end it as we always end it. How are you guys doing this week?
Yes, let's end it.
How's your week? I'm great. I'm just great.
It's
I'm on
too
double
damn
antidepressants
warm.
right now.
Double antidepressants?
Yeah.
So what, they've...
I finally got my psychiatrist to like actually do something for once.
Oh, nice.
So he's weaning me off of the one I've got now, which means I still got to take it for a few more weeks, but just gradually lower doses. But he started me on the other one at full dose already, so I'm on double antidepressants every day. And,
wow.
It's been interesting.
Yeah, side effects would be real fun for a while for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a weird week.
I bet. Yeah, my week's been good. Still on my antidepressant. Simon, over to you. How's it in the mentally sound corner?
You go.
Well,
I'm gonna have to get a reference. No, it's I probably should be on antidepressants as well, but you know, here we are. It's just too warm. It's just too damned warm. That's all I can say about this week.
I'm liking it. I'm liking this weather.
You're insane.
It breaks your PC.
Well, not now I've turned auto cooling on.
Oh.
No, I hate summer. I hate summer.
I don't mind it being sunny, but it's when it's so warm indoors that you can't sleep. That's the
open
bitch.
the window.
I live on the ground floor. I'll get people coming in and doing things to me if I do that.
You wish. You just don't want to open it because you know it ain't true.
Well, that and Zuko would get out, and then he'd probably steal everyone's stuff, and I'll have to make a sign.
Or just never come back.
And opening the window doesn't help when it's hotter out there than it is in here.
That's fair. Well, you guys have AC though, don't you?
Kind of. My room doesn't.
Oh no.
Everywhere else in the house does, but my room is like...
How to know your parents don't love you.
Pretty much. I have the smaller bedroom too. For me and my sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're older.
I know. I have a college apartment's worth of furniture stuffed into a tiny one bedroom.
I was thinking about this the other day. When we started Reactors and Realms, you were in the college dorm, I think, with Toulouse.
The apartment, yeah.
Yeah. Was it just you and Toulouse in there?
Yep.
Wow. And then to come back home and...
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, it was nice when I had a scholarship that paid for everything, including my housing.
I bet.
Yeah.
It's weird to think how much we've all changed over those years.
Y'all have done really well for yourselves, and I've slid back down.
Mentally, I haven't done very well at all, but I'm doing okay now.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll all get there in the end, and that's what I love about this group is that we're all one big family, and it's nice. But I think we'll end it there. You know, we've come full circle, death to life. How beautiful is that? Thank you for watching the HOTI podcast. That's right. I'm just gonna end it. Thank you for watching. No. But is that everything we wanted to talk about today?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
We talked about it a bit.
Yeah, we've gone into topic with some odd topics today, and it's been, you know, macabre and quite dark. But hey,
Macabre?
Macabre, yeah.
Macabre?
Is that how you pronounce macabre? I thought I heard you say it strangely during D&D the other day.
No.
I didn't have time to question it though.
No, it was a test, and you passed. Well done.
This is your what's the one? Because it's denizens.
Denzians.
Denzians. That was it. Yeah.
Denzians. Yeah. Denzian. The macabre. The maca. No, what? I can't even say it now.
You said Maccabee.
The macabre. The macabre. Denzians. We'll see. That's the end of this episode. Ace. We'll see you next week, where it's me. It's the boys. Liam and Anthony. Yeah, it's me and the boys.
All right, I'm not a boy anymore, so that's.
I mean,
well, from his perspective, you're a friend.
Yeah, exactly. So it's me and my bros.
Don't say it like that.
Me and my homies.
It's next the bro week, podcast.
Oh god!
Next week we're going to talk about chicks. We're going to talk about beer. We're going to talk about frat parties. Yeah, check it out. We'll be back next Wednesday with the HOTI podcast. Over on the HOTI podcast. Bros before hoes. That's you, Simon.
Wow.
And yeah, make sure to check out everyone's channels. And if you enjoyed this wonderfully, chaotically awkward podcast, come back next week where it will just be as bad. HOTI podcast over on Twitter. Check us out there. And make sure to check out The Bounty's Chase and Fortunately Fire over on my channel, Touch Boy, on Thursdays at 7 p.m. BST. And Simon's Twitch channel on Saturdays at 7 p.m. BST. We will see you next week for more of this, because who wouldn't want that?